As Nathan said, I'm Debbie Cromwell, Workplace Learning Coordinator at ABTech, and I'm actually going to utilize my notes to keep me on track so we can be mindful of the time and give Blue Ridge their opportunity to share their programs. That will keep me from going down rabbit holes. It is my job as the Workplace Learning Coordinator to increase and strengthen student opportunities within the manufacturing sector. So I do actually specialize more so in the engineering and applied technology areas. Before I introduce our panel, we're just going to talk a little bit about how workplace learning works at ABTech. As a Workplace Learning Coordinator, I serve as the liaison between ABTech and the community for those opportunities, primarily again within engineering and applied technology programs. What's a little bit atypical about my position is that I not only work within the curriculum side of the house, but I do also work with the continuing education programs, those comprehensive programs that we offer under economic services and workforce development. Some of those programs under the curriculum side are computer integrated machining, mechanical engineering technology, computer automated drafting, industrial systems technology, electronic engineering technology, electrical systems technology, computer engineering technology, air conditioning, heating, refrigeration, and technology, and welding, just to name a few. Not all of these programs have always had work-based learning options in terms of accredited opportunities, so we have moved forward with adding additional ones this past semester. Those programs that are comprehensive under economic services and workforce development that I work specifically with for workplace learning opportunities are Machining Fundamentals, which is a 330-hour course, 4 days a week, 15 weeks. This is fairly comprehensive, and I did bring some information, our flyers on those programs, and for the sake of time, we won't go into the specifics of those, but it is an opportunity for you to have that sort of quick student or graduate versus waiting for the 2-year. You don't always need a machinist, but you pretty much need a machine operator. So we try to offer some of the short-term training as well. The CNC 101 is a new class for us. Some of the things that we've heard about from industry is that we need a little more focus on the CNC aspect of things. So we have offered, and I think we've only run one to this point, 5-week course, and it was extremely successful. I can tell you 100% of those students were employed at the time of graduation. So this is approximately 110 hours. We're looking at actually moving it to a 7-week course, again, because it was so successful. Aerospace and Structural Composites is also a course that we offer under the short-term training, and as well, we offer training and do provide the training for the composite program for GE Aerospace. This is a 96-hour course. And what's also new for us is our Industrial Maintenance Academy, and that is based on the fact that many of you have realized that your workforce is aging out primarily in the industrial systems or your industrial maintenance folks. So this academy allows not only the community to come in and understand what industrial maintenance is about and enhance those skills, but it allows employers to come in and say, I have folks with super good skills, but they need to have a little more. I'd like to train them to take the place of Joe Smith, who's aging out in 2 years. So it gives you an opportunity to bring them in, take them through, let them go through the academy. That's also 15 weeks, 330 hours. So they're very comprehensive programs. Our Director of Workforce Development is here, so he would certainly probably be more than happy to entertain specific questions about those programs once we finish. If anyone has questions additional questions about those programs, you can also call our office and speak with either David Rogers or John Irwin. We'd be more than happy to walk you through that process. So the components of work-based learning or workplace learning at ABTech are work-based learning, internships, special projects, apprenticeships, and direct hire connections. As we've already learned earlier, there's definitely lots of usage of words, and many of us have different definitions for those terms. So I'm going to actually commit the cardinal sin and read to you standard definitions of the terms that we have just discussed. Work-based learning, which is referred to in our catalogs as WBL option, is an academic course blending classroom learning with practical work experience related to your field of study. This occurs over the course of a semester, and college credit can be earned. Different credit can be earned based on the hours worked, and most of those are 111s, which are about 160 hours, so it's 16 weeks, 10 hours a week average, and that goes on up. Students cannot receive credit if they are a mechanical engineering student working at Target, okay? So they're definitely measurable objectives. It does need to be in your field of study, and we would like for our students to go out and find some of those resources themselves. But in addition to that, I do actually work with employers to find out if you have vacancies or what your needs are, and do we have students who can meet those, and can we work together. One of the benefits of work-based learning, the WBL component for the schools, is that we earn FTE, so there's actually money that comes in for that type of a program. Internship, on the other hand, is a non-credit work experience, allowing students and recent graduates to gain experience in their field. So in most companies, it works very much the same. It's just non-credited. These students do not qualify to take the work-based learning option. That means generally that they have already taken an elective in their major field. So again, do not want to leave anybody out. Internship, valuable option as well. For us, special projects are also an option. Special project is a short or long-term project allowing a student to graduate, a student or graduate, to enhance their skills or their portfolio. Now, when I say a short-term program, very rarely is that like a 2-week program. It does have some measurable learning objectives in it, but it allows that student to kind of get their feet wet, kind of understand maybe the philosophies and what it's like to actually have a real work experience. It also allows them to earn the opportunity to have something on their resume that speaks to their field, and as well that letter of reference. So we have worked extensively with Eaton Electric in the past, working on special projects, which have turned out to be just extremely exceptional for our students, and really morphed into some great career opportunities. Apprenticeship, I think we've already kind of gone through that, but the actual definition, according to the site, is a system of work-based learning designed to meet the employer needs by providing the employee with a structured on-the-job learning and job-related education. The one thing that we probably didn't talk about is that under the apprenticeship program, you can offer students the opportunity, or actually your employees, the opportunity to earn a degree as well, which is not a requirement of an apprenticeship program. At present, we have 2 apprentices in the industrial systems program through Borg-Warner Turbo, and they did offer these gentlemen the opportunity to earn their degree, and that is what they are doing. These are folks that started and have worked very many years within the machining end of things. There is a need in the industrial systems for industrial maintenance folks at Baldor, and probably at many of the facilities you folks represent today. So Baldor said, Borg-Warner Turbo said, you know, we're going to look from within. These people have proven themselves. They're very interested in what we have to offer, but they don't yet have that skill set. There you go. We now have 2 folks that are longtime employees, proven themselves, who are enrolled in the industrial systems program, continue to work, gives an opportunity, as I look at it, for 2 slots for machining folks. So these are opportunities that you can offer your existing employees that will enhance their ability to move forward, and then also allow additional graduates to move into those positions, or folks that you may have on your assembly line that show a good sort of aptitude towards filling a higher spot. As one of the sort of larger community colleges in North Carolina, we actually have some very robust programs outside of our engineering and applied technology, such as the culinary arts, hospitality management, baking and pastry arts, brewing, distillation, and fermentation, which I'm sure you've all heard about by now, and allied health. And all of these require work-based learning, which is an interesting perspective, and one that I want to move into at some point down the line. Right now, within the engineering and applied technology, work-based learning is an option and listed under major electives, and there are many reasons for that. If you start requiring work-based learning, in this case 4 credit, then you must know that you have that feeder pool. So there has to be ongoing opportunities. So that's based on partnerships, of which we are working on and will continue to work on. Our goal is to strengthen and grow our student opportunities in order that all students will have some sort of work-based learning prior to entering the workforce. Because we're very proactive in connecting the students to industry and vice versa. I'm often in and out of the classrooms looking for that right fit. I receive many phone calls, emails, visits from recruiters, employers, staffing agencies connected with large employers, and so forth. I visit, I learn the culture, I discuss employment needs with the employers, resulting many times in work-based learning opportunities, internships, special projects, or direct hire, whatever your need is at the time. A lot of our employers visit our classrooms to talk about, especially just before graduation, to talk about what you offer, what you're looking for, and maybe get a feel for that student. In some of our courses, that involves maybe a special project. You may have an invitation to the senior project as it's offered. You can certainly learn at those opportunities who the leaders are. Additionally, we have in our fundamentals, our machining fundamentals class, we have about 15 projects that students work on, and I bring numerous employers in as they're about to graduate. It just serves many purposes. Number one, you as the employer get to see what actually a fundamentals class is about. You also get to have that interaction with the student, because I have them put their projects out on the table. And for those folks that are shy but are going to be really good employees, you may miss out on who you might want to work with. They own that project. They understand that project. They know what they did with that project, so they can speak. It's not uncomfortable for them to talk to you about those processes. Again, we have almost 100%, and pretty much if you want a job out of any of those classes, you're going to have one. So we're almost at 100% with placement there. For new partners to ABTech, which I hope all of you that I do not know at this time, I will know by next week even. But for the new partners at ABTech not familiar with our process, I've created what I call a toolkit. This toolkit helps to define sort of that common terminology, state and federal laws, because that's very important to understand, sort of basic guidelines that can be redirected to fit your need. Checklists. Sometimes what we don't tend to understand is that if you have someone coming as an intern or whatever, they kind of need that same checklist that a new employee needs. They need to know where the restroom is. They need to know when they can take break. They need to know that their thumbs don't work during the day for anything other than what you propose it for. The cell phone in the pocket or in the locker, whatever your rules are. They need to know all the above. They need to know who their contact person is. Who's that supervisor that they talk to? And they need to sort of have a conversation on what the goals are. From your side of things, I will have already spoken with them. Of course, we probably would have had a joint meeting, but those things need to be reiterated. This is particularly helpful for those supervisors and leads not involved in the initial discussions regarding expectations and learning goals. Oftentimes I will meet with the human resource director and not maybe the lead or supervisor who may be, again, supervising this person. And things can be lost in translation. And this offers that ability for that lead or supervisor to sit down and go through the packet and be on the same page at the same time. We're often very, very busy. The HR manager may have a date set up for someone to start and not have had that opportunity to have that in-depth conversation. So this has been a very powerful tool for us. Within my particular programs of concentration, again, ABTech is very big. Many, many programs. So we have a robust automotive program which falls under engineering and applied technology that I have not specifically worked with because they don't need fixing at this time. They don't need growing. They have a lot going on. So I don't count their stats when I talk about mine. But in my particular programs of concentration, we've been able to place over 140 students with some sort of work-based learning opportunity. We've calculated approximately 150 job placements that I have personally been involved with, 15 pre-apprentices, and at this time 2 apprentices, those with Borg-Warner Turbo that we talked about. The apprenticeship program is new to me, so I am very excited to work with Sherry and help grow that into things as well. I do not care whatever you choose to do, whether it's apprenticeship, internship, work-based learning. I want my students to have that opportunity to enter your door and understand that this is their career. This is not a job, this is their career. So again, for me, I'm happy to bless all the ways that we can bring somebody in and work with you in that regard. As this is a time-limited panel, and obviously we're already behind time, I'll certainly invite any questions that you might have specifically for me to maybe come afterwards. I'm available. My business card is over here. Nathan and Barbara know how to get in touch with me, so at any time you're more than welcome. My door is always open. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to say that certainly any of these elements, as we just discussed, can help employers reduce recruitment and training costs, as well as allowing you to have better prepared employees who then understand your culture. And you know, in training, that's a big, big thing. I hope that your takeaway will be that no matter which of these opportunities might be a better fit for your need, that there is a student or graduate really waiting around the door to have the opportunity to learn and begin their professional career with you. Great connections definitely create great organizations, and ABTech would love to be that great connection for you. So without further ado, I will actually let you know who is on our panel. Mary Harwood, I do not see her, which is extremely unusual. We have been discussing back and forth this panel, and she is not here. So Mary is the training coordinator with Eaton. Again, we have worked a lot of special projects, but for the sake of time, maybe that has worked out in our favor. What I did was, instead of having all employers, I decided to kind of mix the group. So I was having Mary with Eaton and of course Sarah with GE, who just served on the previous panel. I also have students who are graduates and one that is currently a student but working. So I have asked for them to share their story, kind of what brought them not only to ABTech and manufacturing, whether it's a second career, new entry into college itself, whether you came to college because mom said you go to college or you're out the door, or you go to college or you go to work and you found your way to manufacturing. Whatever your story may be, I ask them to share that with you because they have been successful with what they have done. But some of the things that you need to know when you build your program or you look at starting to bring students in is what worked for you, what drew them in, what has made them stay, most importantly. So on this end, I would like to say that we have Evan Capps, who is representing Atlas Precision. And Mary Ramirez is out in the audience. So if you have any specific questions for Atlas Precision, Mary may be able to answer those. But again, anything very specific, we might want to wait until after. Advanced Superabrasives, we have Marissa Dowers. And let me go back and say that Evan is actually an engineering apprentice. Marissa Dowers is an engineering technician rover. And Marissa is at ASI, Advanced Superabrasives. You saw Jonathan in the previous panel. Marissa had the opportunity to receive a scholarship that Jonathan and Attila set up. And Attila is Jonathan's father, he owns the company, set up for ABTech, specifically in the engineering and applied technology program areas. So she was the first recipient of that scholarship. So we do have a foundation. So any of you who would like to also give money so that a student can then continue their education and or then work with and for you, we are more than happy to entertain that conversation as well. So again, Marissa was the recipient of the scholarship. She then was an intern and is in school currently. She's one of our strong achievers in a double major. And at one point, Jonathan himself called me and said, what is it going to take to get Marissa to come back and work for me? So I'll let Marissa tell her story during her time. We have been introduced to Sarah Dunn with GE Aviation. Obviously, Sarah's the Senior Employee Resource Manager and was very kind to sit on this panel and probably any of the panels. Sarah is new. My previous working has been with Mickey Turner and Ashley Ritchie. So Sarah so kindly is going to speak about things that happened when she wasn't even here. So Joel Luczak is a machinist in rotating parts division at GE Aviation, where we've been able to place several interns. So without further ado, I'll turn it over, and if you want to just start with Evan, that'll be great.
My name's Evan Capps. I just graduated in May with a degree in Industrial Systems Technology, a certification in Industrial Automation, and a certificate in CNC machining. I was placed into this apprenticeship role by Debbie. I guess I should start from the beginning. Didn't have the opportunity to attend college right out of high school, as I may have liked. Had to join the workforce. Worked in management for about 10 years, roundabout. Finally got the opportunity to return to school with the support of my wife and my family. Went back to school, and as I was finishing up my degree, started talking to Debbie about, I don't know anybody in industry. How can I make a connection, and look, who do I even talk to go find a job somewhere? And she said, that's no problem, and started the ball rolling. And when she found a good fit, basically just came to me and said, hey, we have this opportunity at Atlas. They want to bring somebody in and train them up to be the employee that they want to have. And I said, that sounds perfect for me, because I'm a hard worker, and as my grades will reflect, I've got the aptitude. I need a foot in the door, and that's exactly what I got. Went over and interviewed with Atlas, and I've started a program where it's a paying job because it's not a state apprenticeship. It's I'm working as a design engineer, and got to get in there with CAD software and working on actual projects. Wasn't training program or anything like that. I got started right away doing actual work, which was great for my morale, and it's been a wonderful experience so far. Working with Atlas, forming a great partnership, and hopefully they're interested in keeping me as long as they were initially looking for, which is they said they were looking for somebody to start here and work to retirement, and so that's exactly what I'm here for.
I'm Marissa Dowers. I'm currently a student at ABTech. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering as well as CAD, and two certificates in architectural drafting as well as CNC programming. After my first year at ABTech, like Debbie said, I received the scholarship from Advanced Superabrasives, which helped me get through that first year of college. And then I ended up getting an internship right after my first year, and I interned through the summer. And now I'm back full-time at Advanced Superabrasives. I'm currently a bunch of different things. My title is technically a mechanical engineer, but I do anything from paperwork to inspection to designing to order entry. I kind of float everywhere. In my internships, I learned to run the majority of the machines that we have in the machine shop, which was a really good learning experience for me because I was able to float, and it's helped me now in my job now because I learned all of those basics in the internship, and now I'm going back and learning on top of what I already learned in my internship and progressing from there. And it's been a really good opportunity to be able to internship and then also turn around and get a full-time job at the same company.
And if I can brag a little bit about Marissa as one of our females, Jonathan has contests with his interns throughout the course and as they end. And I received a rather lengthy email one day with photos and all sorts of things. And it was Marissa who kicked butt, might I just say, on the machining end of things. And it was my understanding that Attila then walked into the warehouse and offered, a job at that point. So Marissa was definitely a shining star, of course, as evidenced by the fact that once she left, came back to school, they said, how do we get her to come back? Now, as you know, ASI is in Mars Hill, and Marissa lives in Canton. Yeah, that's a long way. Anyway, one of the things that we talked about, again, strengthening your students once they're in the workforce, is the power is in your court. Okay, not to let out any secrets, but they wanted her. So you have this long distance to go. Think about this. I never at any point told her what to ask for or specifically for her salary. That is between her and the employer. She understands standards of salary. But she went into that meeting very strong, very understanding of the fact that they wanted her, and asked for a salary, which I'm not going to report to everyone what that is. That would be unfair to Marissa. But she asked for the salary and received it, no questions asked, no arguments whatsoever. So I'm really, really proud of that fact. I think definitely kudos to all aspects of her learning process, and the fact that ASI gave her a great opportunity and understood exactly what they had and said, nope, all right, that's fine. We want her no matter what. So it's my little bragging point. Sarah?
All right, so I've already talked a little bit about me and GE Aviation and what we do, so I guess all I'll add before turning it over to Joel is that in addition to the Registered Apprenticeship Program that I spoke about in the previous panel that we've had for a number of years, we've also done some internships with ABTech and other schools as well. And maybe to answer a question that came earlier on the previous panel that we were running out of time with, we will consider an internship for, I'll say, post-high school. We don't do internships for folks in high school. We do allow folks in high school to be considered for our apprenticeship program. But for anyone who's in a degree program, whether that's a 2-year degree program or a 4-year degree program, we can consider doing some sort of an internship or a co-op with that person. And we will typically use a DECO, if you're familiar with a DECO, to facilitate enabling us to do those kinds of internships and co-ops. And one of the times that we did that was what brought Joel to us. So I'll turn it over to Joel and let him talk a little bit.
Thanks very much. My name's Joel. I'm a machinist at GE. This was a second career for me. I worked in kitchens for about 20 years, so I had no experience going into machining. I picked it because I looked at my positives and my negatives, what I'm good at, what I'm bad at, and being one of the things that I'm bad at. But one of the things that I'm good at,
Being on panels.
working in the kitchen for 20 years, I'm really good at taking a lot of different pieces together and doing really small things really well, putting them together, and then putting it in the window and doing it all over again. So I'm kind of a good robot, a little bit. But, so I wanted to do something that I cared about, and I thought going into machining I was going to have to start at the bottom and turn cast iron, something really messy and dirty, and make, I don't know, lawnmower parts or something. And I got really lucky by being contacted by Debbie, and starting at the top. It seems like, because the material that I work with now, it's proprietary. Nobody else in the world is using this stuff, and there are no lawnmower parts that are made out of the material that I'm making, And so it's really cool stuff, and I like that it's important. I like that it's going on to an airplane, and it's something that needs to last. It needs to be perfect, and I kind of like that about it a lot. It turned out to be a really great program. It started as 3 months, and then it was extended another 3 months, and it was extended another 3 months, and I knew what my goal was at the beginning, which was to get my next career and my last job, hopefully. And luckily it worked out.
And we have a few minutes, so if I may, I think we'll be back on time. That's a good thing. Shanda will be happy with me. Joel, do you mind if I share with this group the email that you sent me when you were accepted as an intern?
I don't remember, but go ahead.
Okay. It's one of my favorites. Good morning, Debbie. I wanted to let you know that I heard from Gerald Cotton with Adecco at that time. They were sending, it was a pilot project, and they were sending through Adecco today, and GE has decided to accept me into their internship program for rotating parts machinist. I want to send a quick note to thank you for your guidance, patience, and support. I am humbled and thrilled that GE is willing to make this investment in me, and I am equal parts nervous and excited. I recognize what an opportunity this is for me. I'm old enough to know quite a few people whom have tried second careers, and I have seen more than a few whom have had quite a difficult journey. I very much understand that I could not have done this alone, and wanted to say thank you to you and Mr. Shannon Mosier, who is one of our machining instructors, for your confidence in me. I will try my best to prove that GE has made a good decision in choosing me. These are the things that make my job worth it. Obviously, you don't work at a community college to get rich. So this is our enrichment. So as I say to you today, there's so much hope, and there's a lot of talk about young people today, and I help talk about it because we do have some soft skill issues. But we have folks out there who are willing, able, and really want to make a career. And that is one of the things that we talk about long and hard in our classes, is this is not just a job. You had a job before you came to school, and if you didn't, now you're working on a career. So it's extremely important, we know, to you to not have to spend a lot of money training folks over and over and over again. So these, I promise you, are skills that we do try to drill in. I try my best to have folks understand what it means when you give them benefits, and what that means to that paycheck, how that accelerates that paycheck if they had to pay for those benefits on their own. What that 25 cents an hour when they leave for somewhere else doesn't mean when they don't have benefits. So again, we're kind of full force. We are in the building process of expanding and just becoming better at what we do. And that requires, again, a good partnership. And I really, really hope that you will reach out to us. I will certainly reach out to you. We you know, certainly say we will do everything in our power. We do not mind constructive, negative criticism. It helps us grow. We certainly like the positive. Vernon?
I have a question for the three panelists that I personally want to know the answer to.
Okay.
You know, what's the one thing that you wish we had taught you in school that you found out when you got to work you didn't?
Well, for me, I don't mean to jump in if anybody
No,
else.
go ahead. I was just thinking.
I found that a lot of the skills that ABTech shared with me were exactly what I needed. For me personally, I had lots of work experience. So as Debbie mentioned, soft skills portion of it was something that I feel I already possessed. That might be something that other students might benefit more from, would be soft skill type skills. But from my perspective, I got the technical knowledge to basically kind of unlock the aptitude that I already had and open my eyes to what was available in industry.
You're not going to like mine, but I learned one type of control in school, and there are many different types of controls out in the world in GE. So they're all kind of different languages. Fanuc is a lot different than Akuma or GE controls or Mazak controls, and we had Haas equipment at ABTech, which is great machines, but it's like learning one different language. So at GE, I sometimes need to go back and forth between some of these different ones, and that's one of the more difficult parts of my job. Just remembering seeing those different types of languages, and luckily enough, I have enough people around me with so much experience that I can call somebody over, and but it's pretty nerve-wracking when my part is $65,000, and if I screw it up, I'm going to cost GE a lot of money. So seeing all those different types of controls, there are really subtle differences in between Fanuc and Akuma, for example.
I would probably just have to say, just pressing the fact that even if you're in mechanical engineering or industrial systems, it can be applied or interchanged for the most part to be anything else. I mean, I use my mechanical degree, but I use a lot of stuff that I've learned in CAD more for my mechanical side, which I don't think a lot of people realize that everything kind of changes and is used at some point, even if it's something as tiny as like a small math problem.
I think one of the things that probably all of us in this room realize, and certainly the other community colleges here, you know, we're poor. And so equipment doesn't come every year when there's an upgrade, though we do try and we look for those grants. But at any time that you feel you have more equipment that you need, that you would like us to specifically work on with our students, we will gladly take it. So we absolutely do understand the differences between maybe what we have today to teach and what you actually have them. And that's that learning curve once they come in your door. But again, at all times we do strive to write for and look for every grant that we can that will allow us to purchase equipment. And you know, but gifts are always welcome, and they do not have to be wrapped. So.
Yes, I have a question. We have, in my school at Asheville-Buncombe, we have a couple of hundred students that are taking Career College Promise classes while they are juniors and seniors at the high school level. We're trying our best to encourage those students to also look at those pathway courses through Career College Promise that would lead into all of these industries. We have a really hard time dangling that carrot in front of them. A few years ago, several years ago, we had 5 students I did in diesel mechanics at ABTech. And the industry folks on the other end had promised them an apprenticeship or an internship when they finished or got enrolled and finished a couple of classes. That carrot that we dangled in front of them helped those students be very successful. Most of them worked in that program or went to another area at ABTech, but it gave them the opportunity to see if they wanted to do something like that. So when you're saying that with an apprenticeship, or with an internship, you only do that with high school graduates, would you be open to talking with students that are already in the college program as a possibility of doing an internship either during school or maybe even that summertime? Because we know that Mission Possible is a summer internship program that we run. And if we could have something like that, it would be tremendous for our students and would be a carrot we could dangle in front of them.
Yeah, so my right off, I assume this question's for me. My right off the top of my head thought is we'd probably need them to be 18 in order to allow them to work in our shop around our equipment. And the registered apprenticeship program, in a very specific way, allows us to have folks that are under 18 do that and have some exemptions from OSHA on what they're prohibited from being around from an equipment perspective. So without that, we'd probably need for them to be 18 in order to be able to consider them to do that, but I'm happy to talk more about what we can look at.
So with that, Career and College Promise, for those of you who don't know, is that our students can take community college courses through ABTech and go already into the dual pathway, so they get college credit and high school credit. But at the same time, students may pick up the language if they could even work in the business office, or it doesn't have to necessarily be on the floor. They're getting a lot of experience just by seeing process, just by hearing language. Maybe it doesn't have to be there. What we're trying to also do is look at the support systems that you need too. So we want to get them in your business in some way, to get that exposure. It might not directly at the beginning be on the floor, but when they turn 18, then they could. So we're trying to figure out a way to infuse them at some level and dangle those carrots for you.
I think I know what Kathy's question is, and I think I can answer it. And I'll be specific, we use the diesel program, but it would apply to any program. We have students coming in that program, and they were actually working toward the associate degree. They were, I think we have a home student. If they're our student, they're coming through that program, once they get to a point they can be employed, well, I don't think there's any prohibition on us working to help them find internships. In fact, if they stay in the diesel program, they have to do a co-op. That's required. They do 2 co-ops. And that certainly is a carrot. We're going to work with those students. And she wouldn't necessarily work through David. They would work with their department chair, David Walker, and the faculty in that area. They sort of handle their own co-ops. But any of the other programs, they came and took mechanical engineering, some of the other programs. The co-op is an option in there once they had enough coursework. There's no prohibition that I know against us helping them. Once they're at appropriate age to get that co-op ring.
Well, the problem that I see though at the high school level is allowing students to be able to be exposed at an earlier age as they're looking at what they want to major in. Sometimes when they start those classes with you guys, they may start them and already know what they want to do, or they may change their mind. But if we can let them have some type of an exposure, even if it's a day that's shadowing, I mean, it would be great for me if I
One thing that we do, and we'll do more of, is we participated in the RAMP program, so on-site tours for students and parents, and I think what we've done has been kind of a 2-hour exposure, but we can definitely think about doing half-day, just more of a program that shows them what we do, what kind of roles we have, what kind of careers you can have. We're very open to that.
We're running late, so to be respectful of your time, certainly give all these folks a hand. And